It's really important to come together to talk about how we're feeling when things are challenging. And that's why our community created the Israel-Palestine Dialogues. And the next dialogue is this coming Sunday. And we really encourage all members to attend if you are able. Have a look at the e-digest for the time and the topic. But sometimes talk isn't enough. And one of the things that people often struggle with today are feelings of helplessness, not being able to make a difference. It's one thing to share how difficult something is, but those feelings of being challenged, those feelings of difficulty can often be alleviated, at least in part, if we can act on them. This is something that we've noticed particularly with regard to the youngest generation, who are often sharing experiences of hopelessness because they don't feel that they can make a change in the world that they see as crumbling before them, in terms of the natural world and democracy and much more. And so it's really important for us to look for moments of action, opportunities where we can act. And there is something coming up now where we can really make a difference. And we can make a difference about Israel in particular. And Nat Hoffman, the former director of the Israel Religious Action Center, also founding member of Women of the Wall, says Israel is far too important to be left in the hands of Israelis alone. What happens in Israel affects every Jew on the planet. And this is where you come in. The World Zionist Congress elections start in a couple of days. And these elections determine political appointees, they determine representation in national institutions, and they determine $1 billion of funding annually in Israel. And you may think, well, what can I do about that? Well, it's the World Zionist Congress, and that means every Jew, every American Jew over the age of 18 has a vote. You have a vote in the state of Israel, not the democratic process of electing prime minister, but you have a vote in another democratic process to help with certain other political appointees, representation in national institutions, and allocation of funding. So this vote affects policies, it affects people, and it affects land usage. This vote of the World Zionist Congress is particularly important in supporting the reform movement in Israel, which struggles for recognition and has done so for decades. It's really important for ensuring that there is reform representation in Israeli institutions. It's particularly important for ensuring that there is female representation in Israeli institutions. Your vote for the World Zionist Congress also helps ensure Hebrew Union College is supported. It helps support NIFTY. It helps support progressive Jewish education. Every year, 1,500 Israeli counselors go to URJ camps, and your vote can determine whether they are progressive Jews going to a progressive camp, or if you don't vote, it's more likely that those Israelis going to those progressive reform camps will not even be Reform Jews. And your vote also helps to counter anti-Semitism. And I hate to do us and them, I really do. And yet, there is a reality here. There is a huge push in Israel to try to get rid of Reform Judaism. There's a push by the certain people in the Orthodox community, and it is a very well organized push. They want to strip Israeli Reform clergy and their communities of rights and funding. They want to reject Reform and conservative conversions. They want to increase funding for West Bank expansion. They are demanding gender segregation in Israel. And they want to roll back all the gains that Israel has made for religious pluralism, for gender equity, for LGBTQ plus rights. And ultimately, they want to undermine democracy and advance anti-democratic, racist policies in Israel. You can help to stop that. Instead of just talking, you can act. You can go to the link that's attached to this email, but I'll say it here, voteforreform.org. That's the number 4. www.voteforreform.org. And you can find out how you can vote. And you can make sure with that vote that there is a progressive presence, a continued progressive reform presence in Israel, that we continue to support the rights of all people, that Israel continues to be as tolerant and inclusive a society as it can be. Because we have a responsibility, all of us has a responsibility to act on this. All of us have the responsibility to vote. So I strongly urge you to please go to voteforreform.org and find out how you can vote in these World Zionist Congress elections. And then please, please do vote. So join us this weekend. We have our Israel-Palestine dialogue that I mentioned. We have an early family service this evening with a potluck. Bring some food. Bring enough food for yourself and to share as well. Our family service is bringing more and more people of differing age groups in. It's a lovely service. Please come and join us for that. And of course, our Torah study tomorrow. I'll be leading that as we prepare ourselves for Purim, which I can't believe is so close. As we prepare ourselves for Purim, the Maftir, the extra reading in the Torah portion, talks about Amalek and the need to wipe out Amalek. And so we look at what does it mean for a loving God to command us to wipe out a people. We look at Karl Popper's paradox of intolerance, which we've looked at also recently. And we're going to be discussing this in the context of Purim. And of course, we also have our Shabbat Shacharit service. So I hope to see you over Shabbat. I hope to see you this weekend. And please have a look again. voteforreform.org. And I wish you Shabbat Shalom.